I've built my personal brand for the last 1.5 years and it has single-handedly fueled my whole business to make thousands of dollars every single month. Along with that, I've grown many other personal brands to a collective following of over 100,000 followers. And I'm going to compress everything I learned that I teach to my clients and I have applied in this one video. Tip number 1. Corporate branding can make $10 million with $1 million marketing budget, whereas personal branding can make $10 million with a $100,000 marketing budget. And I'm not the only one telling this to you. You might have seen Tesla, who had that $0 marketing campaign where the most of the traffic came from the owner's personal brand, Elon Musk. Because Elon was going out there and making random ass videos that continuously went viral that related back to Tesla. Like one of the marketing stunts he did, like accepting Dogecoin in payment for a Tesla. Such thing gave him PR without him actually investing anything in marketing, just a man doing his own thing. And in personal branding, you're not restricted like you will be in corporate branding, because you don't have any rules to follow because you are just a person and you have the freedom of speech. So this shows how just a face for your brand can change the whole game. And like big marketers have said, I don't know whom to quote here, but people connect with people faster than they connect with any brand. And I have way more examples for that. People like Conor McGregor with Proper 12, Kylie Jenner with her own beauty brand, and even The Rock. They all have built $1 million companies because of their own personal audiences they have built through their own personal brand. We can also see many creator-led companies like of Iman Ghazi, Alex Samozi, who have used personal brands to grow their whole businesses. And this I also saw in my impact because I recently started my own advertising and I already had my own personal brand built. I saw that people who came on calls with me already knew me before they even came on calls, which automatically increased my conversion rates. Tip number 2. It's more important to figure out what you will sell to your audience than to figure out how you will build your audience, because it's a simple calculation. It's much easier to build an audience around an offer than to build an audience and push an offer in their face. If you do the second thing, people might get uncomfortable by getting pushed with an offer. For example, if you're in the fitness niche and you want to build a fitness company that sells supplements, if you start by giving fitness tips and tricks and don't think about the offer you're going to sell, people might think you as a personal trainer and come for that service. But that is not your offer that you wanted to sell. It's always good to always have something in place before you even start. For example, if you want to create a fitness company that sells supplements and you start creating content giving education related to fitness without having an offer in mind, you might attract that audience who wants personal training. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to give personal training? I don't think so. You want to sell supplements, right? So always know the offer you want to have in mind. For example, if you have that supplement brand, you'll know how to position your offer much better. For example, Alex Samozi works in the private equity space. So he always has his company logo in his hat and he always talks about it related to that topic because he knows what offer he has to have in mind. Similar thing you should do first. And if you're like, I'm not doing this for money, I'm not doing a business, bro, shut the fuck up. You would probably looking for brand deals or something like that before doing content. I'm pretty sure you don't want to grow in content without a certain goal that is somewhere not related to monetary reasons or awareness reasons. So if you want to go for that brand deal route instead of the business route, that is also an offer. Why should a business reach out to you before giving you a brand deal instead of anybody else? If you're a lifestyle content creator, then you should know which brands will reach out to you and tailor the content according to the people and create content according to the creators the brand has already sponsored. So yeah, quick tip for you guys. So don't do the mistake of just creating content first, figure that out and then go into it. Tip number 3. The top 13% of Instagram creators only post an average of 2 feed posts every week. And these people have over 10,000 followers. The top 2.3% of people have around 100,000 followers and post an average of 3 feed posts every week. And this shows that it has never been more easy to win in this game. It's not even about consistency anymore. It's just about having a little bit more volume for a little longer period of time and you can still win. You don't have to spend days, months, years just creating content to see some results, which I suggest you guys do. But just in retrospect, by seeing those numbers, you can understand that how long you have to just do it to get ahead of the top 10%. And that is not even huge. With 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 followers, you can do a lot of stuff. I only have like around 28k followers and I have created my own damn business. So by just maintaining more than the average for a little longer period of time, you can easily win this game. Tip number 4. The algorithm controls what will go viral, but human behavior controls the algorithm. And data shows how human behavior works. So to know how the algorithm will make you viral, you need to know your data. So for example, I have a whole research sheet where there are lists of other creators, even my content with different kind of statistics. that see how the video has been packaged, what are the rate of like likes, saves, views, and all the different metrics, even followers, to see the conversion rate from every post, to see how much the people are watching. Now, for example, if I know a video is working for more than 2 to 3 creators, I can just replicate that video to see if that works for me. And if that works for me, that content style can actually become your killer content style. And if you figure out your killer content style, nothing can stop you from going viral. In my case, there was this creator who created the video with some hook. So I replicated that hook and put it in my own content. And you know what? I gained over 1 million views in that video itself. That was even more than the previous creator. Then was the second part of my research sheet. Now that I knew which content was working, I needed to understand, will this be my killer content style? And to understand that, you need to replicate that content and make it work again for you. And that is what I did. I just changed the video with the other creator's name. And you know what happened? I gained again 600,000 views from that one video again. And it became my killer content style. In total, I gained around 5,000 followers from just those 2 videos, which is amazing if you just know how less of a time it is. 2 videos, 5,000 views. Oh, sorry, followers. So that's why I always create research sheet, data sheet, and tracking measurements to understand your own data and be ahead of the algorithm. And yeah, creators may tell you to understand your algorithm, but basically they're just telling you to understand your data. Mind that. Tip number 5. Quality will always beat quantity. But to understand what quality means, you need to produce in high quantity. And if you didn't get what I just said right now, let me break that down for you. One good quality video can generate you 1 million of views, which if you are creating bad videos might take you like 100 or 200 videos just to get 1 million views in collective data. You want to create a good quality video that gets 1 million views. But to understand what quality actually means for you, you need to do a lot of practice. And to do a lot of practice, you need to post a lot of videos. So it's a continuous process. And let me explain how I did it for myself. I posted a lot of videos without expecting any sort of virality for 6 months itself. And there with doing small adjustment throughout the way, I understood that this is working for me and this is not. So I understood what quality actually means. And then I decreased the amount of posting I was doing and went on increasing my quality. Then what happened? The average amount of virality increased, but as I was posting very less amount of content, the number of repetitions was very low. And then I just increased my quantity again, along with quality, thus giving me way more reach than I possibly could imagine. So how can you slowly improve yourself? Let's say you post 100 pieces of content where you're just focusing on improving 1% every time. Some of those content will perform significantly better than the others. Just take those content and recreate them again, and you will understand if that is your killer content style or not. Tip number 6. If your content is shit, nobody will watch you. But if nobody is watching you, who will think that it is shit? This frame is very important because 90% of the people get stuck in that rat race of thinking, oh, that guy might say this, that girl might say this, and they get stuck because they think people will judge you. But bro, let me tell you this for serious. If your content is shit, nobody will watch you. And if nobody is watching you fucking up, who will care that you are fucking up? Who will really think that this guy is shit when you have like 2 views getting and both of them are your accounts? So you have the whole freedom of testing different things out, looking shit in front of the camera, because nobody is going to watch you at the beginning. And once you have actually improved, then is where your followers will come, and then you're already good enough. And this thing, out of like 200 plus consultation sales calls I have faced, out of all the 50 to 200 consultation calls I've taken, 50% of them have the same issue. So understand this and put this frame in your mind, because if this is stopping you, you'll never be able to achieve what you want to achieve. Tip number 7. Niche content is good, but specific broad content is the best. The real thing is that the debate between niche content and broad content is actually flawed. You need to create something that is in combination. For example, the topics of the content you are creating should always be niched. For example, if I am doing content marketing, I'm always going to be creating content related to, let's say, how to create good content, how to shoot better videos. But as those topics are niched, I have to make the audience of it broad. And an example of that would be, let's say I talk about Instagram growth. Instead of creating content helping just business owners increase their Instagram, I'll portray my videos in such sense that everyone can use it to increase on Instagram. For example, instead of saying, hey business owners, this is how you can grow on Instagram by using my 3-step strategy, I'll say, here is how you can grow on Instagram by using this 3-step strategy. In the first case, as it is very niched, you might get around like 5,000 views, and 10% of that might be your right audience, meaning you only got 500 good audience size. In the other case, as it is very broad, you might get views of almost 500,000 people. And even if you have like a 2% audience rate, that is way more than 500. So always focus on taking niche topics and making the scripts broad for a broader audience size. Tip number 8. Without your story, your personal brand is like a coffee without coffee beans in it. There is a reason why people call it personal. Whenever I go on to onboarding my own clients, I always take down year by year their own stories, so that when we are writing their content, we can understand what stories they have in themselves. What do they resonate with and what have they faced in themselves? Because information lies everywhere, but what makes it unique for you is your experiences and your perspective on it, and that can only be understood by your own story. So to figure out your whole broad story, figure out these 3 parts in it. Every story has an origin, a transformation, and a moment of realization. For example, if I talk about my broad story, my origin was somewhere where I always wanted to play building video games. That meant I always wanted to build something of my own. And back in the lockdown period, I was in my very worst stage. The whole day I was just watching anime for 12 hours a day. And that is where I came up with a video. And this is my transformative moment right here, where I saw about entrepreneurship, where I could have my own freedom and build my own company. And that is where the transformation really happened. And fast forward 3 years later, came my moment of realization, where I actually started my business after I gave my boards exam. And that is where everything happened for me. I was able to grow my personal brand, build my agency and everything. So this is how you can figure out your story. Even a story of like, let's say how you went out and walked your dog could have an origin, transformation and realization moment. So every story you talk about in your videos have these 3 parts. And you can always make a separate content just talking about your story, because people like people more than they write businesses and gyan. Tip number 9. If you always make a business model before starting a business, why not make a personal branding model before starting a personal brand? This is what I call foundations. Whenever I onboard a client, I always tell them the first thing we are going to do is build their foundation, build their personal branding model or business model of their personal brand. What usually happens is social media is an ever-changing platform which will never sit still. Something that was trending 3 months ago will not work after 6 months. So we have to always understand something that will always work as a foundation under your personal brand. We'll always adapt to the changes, but something should never change. And that is what we call your foundation. In that, it includes your brand voice, it includes what topics you're talking about, your content pillars, your niche and everything like that. To be honest, 90% of that stuff is not needed, but the 10% which is needed is that you have to figure that out on yourself. So for that, what questions we ask our clients is, first of all, you have to know your competitors, you have to know what journey they have gone through, you need to understand your own stories, and you have to understand your own brand voice. Basically, how you are going to talk to. My personal branding brand voice is energetic, funny, and humorous. That's why I always talk very loud and with a lot of energy. Your might be calm and composed, and that's completely okay. Tip number 10. There are 2 types of virality. First one is normal virality, and second is branded virality. One makes you go viral with just views, and other one makes you go viral while generating you money. I think you know which one to pick. You can normally go viral by just holding a cat and doing some random shit, but that virality will not convert into money because you will not target the right audience. And if you don't target the right audience, you can get right amount of followers, but none of them will engage with your actual content. None of them will want what you actually want to give. If let's say I talk about editing, which is very popular, I might get a lot of followers. I want to talk about personal branding. I want to talk about social media. The moment I shift from editing to social media, all this audience, junk audience that I've built here will just leave me and become ghost followers, thus decreasing my reach. So whenever you're creating content, know which audience you're going to target and do not speak except of that. The video I'm making right now are for exactly the audience I want, who want to build their own personal brand. That's what the title of the video was. Another question that most people might have about this stage is, for example, if you're, let's say, targeting business owners, you might create content about business, but you might also like to create content about productivity, about meditation, gym and surrounding topics, which is completely okay. The reason being, a business owner will need to do that. It's his necessity. It's just parallel to it. But let's say if you talk about relationship, which even the business owners have, it's very far away. The dynamics are very far away, and in this between dynamic, the change of dynamics, this junk audience will come up. Productivity and business is very close to. A business owner always watches productivity content, but relationship, there is a little gap in between, and here is where your junk audience might come in. Tip number 11. If you run out of content ideas, it's not about what you're creating, it's more about what you learn. Just learn more and you will have more content ideas. You can only run out of content to share if you don't have anything to speak about. And you can only run about things to speak about if you don't know many things. And to know many things, you need to continuously keep on learning. No more insight, no more industry knowledge. Get more experiences that you can and talk about. And now this might also happen to you. You might learn a lot of stuff, you might have a lot of experiences, but you might not recall it the moment you sit down to shoot. For that, just grab a whiteboard, write your name in between, and just draw mind maps of what you are interested in. For example, Shubhankar Sengupta, interested in personal branding, marketing, fitness, gym. Make circle around that and then take down from that. For example, personal brand might come shooting, Instagram, social media, Snapchat, Twitter, and a lot of stuff, and make mind maps from that. This will give you a lot of topics to talk about. And this video topic, this 12 tips I'm giving you right here, also came from my mind map that I did before this video itself. Tip number 12. Niche is an incomplete concept which confuses a lot of people. You need to figure out your INCP framework. So people talk a lot about niche that you need to figure out, but you can't usually figure it out. Niche is not something you need to figure out at the start of your creation journey. It's something to be figured out in the between. And to explain this certain point, I'll explain it through the umbrella concept that I learned from G2IG coach. So the umbrella concept looks like something like this. So people talk a lot about niches, but you cannot figure that out exactly until you have grown to a certain point. For example, you might pick freelancing as your own niche and talk about freelancing. But if you want to target audiences of a business owner who want to hire freelancers, then creating and giving knowledge about the freelancing field will just attract newbie freelancers, not the actual business owners you want. So to understand your niche or attract the right niche, or not niche, basically it's a ladder of things you need to figure out. You need to understand the umbrella concept I learned from G2IG coach. Let's take an example of a popular creator. Let's say Ranveer Alabadia. He started with below the actual umbrella right here by creating content related to meal prep and exercise. The moment he started to grow, he started talking about gym and calisthenics. And once he grew a big point, he was talking about the whole niche. That was fitness. He was not talking about fitness as a whole at the start. He started talking once he grew to the full point. And once he grew to the, he maximized his niche, he went on to different niches like fashion, spirituality, business, and a lot of stuff. That in total is called your industry. So at start, you don't need to figure out the branch of the umbrella, your niche. You need to figure out where you will start from. That is your content pillars. So to figure out your content pillars, you just need to understand what your target audience wants. For example, if you're a graphic designer who wants to get hired, just create content explaining your graphic designing skills, not explaining how to do graphic designing. For example, you can showcase brand designs. You can showcase brand remakes, remaking the logo of Coca-Cola. This will show your expertise as a graphic designer and how you can remake a brand logo. And people might come and hire you for that. But if you want to attract the audience of newbie graphic designers and teach them graphic designing, then you have to actually make tutorials to attract that audience. And that sums up the 12 tips in total that you need to start your own personal brand. So go into the first link in the description and book a strategy call with me where I'll explain you how you can build your own personal brand. Now let's say if you don't have money to spend on expert advice and grow your personal brand fast, then don't worry. You can even grow personal brand faster with all the knowledge I'm going to share with you in this YouTube channel. I'm becoming active on it, so subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video and you'll get a lot more information coming up. And until then, bye bye and I'll see you in the next video.